All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful idea from the political philosopher Michael Sandel. He takes aim at something we all kind of take for granted, meritocracy. You know, the idea that our success is all our own doing, but what if that very belief is what's tearing our world apart?
So let's get right to it with the big question Sandel puts on the table. Forget about the day-to-day political drama for a second. What has really gone wrong in our civic life? I mean, what's the deep underlying reason for all the anger and division we see everywhere? It's a massive question, right? And his answer? Well, it's not what you'd expect.
Okay, so let's start with the diagnosis. According to Sandel, our society is in deep trouble. It's dangerously divided. And the reason why? It all comes down to how we think about winning and losing. And those attitudes, he says, have become completely toxic. And this right here, this is the heart of it. You've got the winners on one side thinking, I earned this, my success is all me. And then you have the folks who've been left behind, and the message they get is, it's your fault. You have only yourself to blame. You see the problem here? It creates this absolutely poisonous mix, hubris and arrogance for the winners, and just crushing humiliation for everyone else.
But wait a second, where does this kind of thinking even come from? Well, here's the crazy part. It comes from an idea that, on the surface, sounds fantastic. It's the meritocratic ideal. You know, the promise that if you've got talent and you work hard, you can make it. Anyone can.
And you can see why it's so appealing, right? The logic is, it's really seductive. If we all have an equal chance, if everyone starts the race from the same line, then whoever wins, well, they deserve it. It seems totally fair, totally just. But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question. Is that playing field really level? Is that starting line actually the same for everybody? Are we even close?
Well, the reality is pretty stark. Let's just take a look at elite universities. It turns out there are more students there from the top 1% of richest families than from the entire bottom 50% of the country combined. Let that sink in for a second. So much for equal opportunity, right? For a whole lot of people, the race is rigged before it even begins.
Now, this is where Sandel makes his most challenging point. He says the problem isn't just that we're bad at creating a real meritocracy. No. The problem, he argues, is the idea itself. He's saying that even if we could create a perfect meritocracy, it would still be a deeply flawed, even corrosive society. Wow. And he gives this poison a name: meritocratic hubris. What does that mean? It's basically the tendency for the winners to get high on their own supply. They start to believe their own hype, that they're totally self-made. They forget about all the luck, the good fortune, the people who helped them, the advantages they were born with. And that is the tyranny of merit in a nutshell. The hubris of the winners makes them look down on everyone else. And for those who haven't made it, the system dishes out nothing but humiliation and resentment. Sandel argues that this toxic dynamic, this is what's fueling the populist anger we're seeing all over the world.
I mean, think about that classic phrase we hear all the time. On the surface, it sounds great, really empowering. But Sandel says, hold on, listen closer. There's a hidden insult baked right in. The unspoken part, the message to people without a fancy degree or a big salary is, your failure is your own fault. You just didn't try hard enough. It stops being about economics and becomes a judgment on your worth as a person.
Okay, so if meritocracy is the disease, what's the cure? The good news is, Sandel doesn't just leave us with the diagnosis. He actually offers a way forward. He says we need to completely rethink 3 huge parts of our society if we want to start healing our public life.
So here's the game plan. First, we have got to stop acting like a college degree is the only ticket to a respected, dignified life. I mean, think about it. About 2/3 of Americans don't have a 4-year degree. Second, we need to bring the dignity of work, all kinds of work, back to the center of our politics. And finally, all of that means we have to completely redefine what we even mean by success.
Let's dig into that second point for a second. The dignity of work. This isn't a new idea. Robert F. Kennedy was talking about this over half a century ago. He understood that a healthy society isn't just about what we can buy. It's about feeling like we're contributing, like we matter. It's that sense of purpose you get from doing dignified work. And Martin Luther King Jr. took this idea even further, and so powerfully. He said, look, the person collecting our trash is just as important to our health as a physician. Because if they don't do their job, diseases will break out. It was a simple but truly revolutionary point. Any labor that serves the common good has dignity. Period.
And if you think that's just some old idea from the history books,
Just think back to the pandemic. Who did we suddenly realize were essential? It wasn't the hedge fund managers. It was the delivery drivers, the grocery store clerks, the warehouse workers, the people taking care of our kids and our elderly. We called them essential, but let's be honest, their paychecks and their social standing don't reflect that at all. The pandemic blew the lid off the massive disconnect between how much a job matters and how much it pays.
So, all of this brings us to Sandal's ultimate point. The way we get past the tyranny of merit isn't just about changing a few laws. It requires something deeper, a moral, almost spiritual shift. We have to build our society around one core civic virtue that we've been missing: humility.
And that means we have to ask ourselves a really tough personal question. I want you to think about your own life, right now. Whatever success you've had, was it all you? 100% your own doing? Or was there maybe a little bit of luck involved? The luck of being born in a certain place, to a certain family, with certain natural talents you didn't even ask for?
Because in the end, that's what this all boils down to. Just admitting that luck plays a huge role in our lives, that's the antidote to that toxic hubris we talked about. It opens the door to humility. And it's that humility, that realization that, hey, maybe I didn't do this all by myself. That's how we start to stitch our divided society back together. It's the first step away from this harsh culture of success that's driving us apart, and a step towards something a lot more generous and a lot more hopeful.